What is the best GLP-1 injection site? Are you new to GLP-1s or are you considering taking one? Are you afraid of needles? You're probably wondering, what's all this information about injection sites? Well, there's 3 different types, and let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Dina, and welcome to my channel, Living Mosaic. So today we're going to talk about the mad science of rotating injection sites. So if you're taking Zepbound or Mounjaro, or considering taking one of those, Wegovy or Ozempic, there's ways to inject. There's specific places that the medical documentation would like you to inject. So the choices are underneath the arm here in the fatty part of the back of your arm at the top. There's the upper thigh and slightly on the outer side, and the stomach a little bit around away from the belly button. And read your documentation, get the advice from your doctor, speak to your providers to know exactly how to do that. But what I'm here to say is we're trying to determine, is there a best site? And there's some research out there that says, okay, there's one site that's probably a little bit better than the other as far as effectiveness. Okay. But we should really consider all of the variables when we're taking our shot, right? Because some people don't like needles at all. And wouldn't it make sense that they use the site that's least painful for them? Um, Also, there's the documentation that you have to kind of look at and decide which one you want to choose from. There's other research that says it should be warm. You need to leave it out of the refrigerator for a little bit so it kind of gets a little bit more room temperature so it doesn't hurt as much. So there's a lot of things out there. And what we really want to figure out is what's right for you. Okay, because what's right for me may not be right for you. And I decided that, and I had made the decision that I would rotate to try to figure it out and to see if there was a best injection site for me. Okay, so I started out in my right stomach. And when I took that shot, I was a little bit apprehensive. I had never injected myself with a needle before. Thankfully, the Mounjaro pens, they come in, it's all in one. You don't have to worry about syringes, vials, anything like that. So it made it really super easy. So you basically just take the cap off, put it up against the skin. So for example, if I was doing the back of the arm, I would put it right there. I want to make sure that I twist it to the unlock position, and this is a used one. So this little line would be on the unlock. And there's the little button. This purple button would be up a little bit. And then I would put it right there, and then I would inject it. And that's how I did it. And I just kind of keep that as a little keepsake sort of, and, I can use it in my videos type of thing. So this makes it super easy. So I did use the right side around the belly button and a little bit of ways from the belly button, and I cleaned it with the alcohol and everything. And then I just pinched the skin and I did the injection. Super easy. And that kind of solved that for me. And then what I did was I decided to rotate. And then the next one I did was my left thigh. And I kind of did it on the outer top a little bit, just slightly. Now, the stomach, when I did that injection, did not hurt at all. Okay, there was zero pain, didn't feel it, nothing at all. When I did the thigh, that one stung a little bit. And I was like, "Ugh, I'm not crazy about that." But my goal was to go right to left, back and forth, depending on where in the body. So stomach was on the right, thigh was on the left, second week, third week, I did the right, excuse me, underneath my arm here. So it was a full rotation of all the approved injection sites. Okay. And that one also stung a little bit, not as much as the thigh, but it did sting just a little bit. Now, when taking the 3 different sites, let's talk about side effects real quick. With the stomach, I probably noticed a little bit more stomach issues. And I'm not going to say it was, full on or anything like that. Just minor, very minor. I think I think by now it's not really a problem for me. I've taken 8 shots already. And then with the thigh and the upper arm underneath, I didn't notice anything. And some of the research that is done states that you would be more likely to find and notice some food noise with using the thigh or under the arm as opposed to strictly keeping it at the stomach level. Whether that's 100% true for everyone, I can't say that. But it's interesting to read. And for me, I just know that keeping the rotation seemed to be pretty good. Now, if I had to switch from the pen to needles and vials, I'm wondering if I would change that up. If I would just keep it the stomach. I just feel a little bit more apprehensive about maybe having to use a vial and an actual needle as opposed to the quick pen. So that would be something I would consider. Also, the first time I took the shot in the left thigh, I took that shot cold and it did seem to hurt a little bit more. Since then, I've let all of my pens warm up a little bit to room temperature before I use them. I'm not even 100% sure that made a difference with feeling it or not. I'm going to say on a scale, maybe just a tad bit, rather than have the cold fluid or the cold needle go in. And that kind of makes sense because if you're jabbing yourself with something cold, it's probably going to be slightly shock to your warm body temperature. So the only thing I can think of is cold, warm, left, right. Is there a difference for anyone? Did I notice anything from the right to the left? Anything more noticeable? I'm not quite sure I have. I know there's other people that have been kind of talking about that and saying, well, they think one side works better than the other for them. And I don't know, it could be. Or do you think that maybe that is like a placebo effect for ourselves when we're doing these rotations and these, miniature experiments with ourselves for us sticking ourselves with the pen? If you have a theory about that, go ahead and leave your comment down below. And I think for the most part, deciding which injection site would be best, if you are afraid of needles and you don't want to deal with any pain at all with a needle stick, you probably want to stick to the abdomen area a little bit away from the belly button because you don't want to be near the belly button. But I would stick with that because relatively no pain. Other people have said it, they don't feel it at all either. So that would be the one. Research leans towards the abdomen area possibly having more side effects. So I don't know. I guess that's for you to decide. And by me rotating the different sites, I wanted to determine that for myself. But honestly, I haven't noticed any difference in that at all. So I just feel like the cold versus warm does matter. So I think pulling it out and letting it sit in the room temperature for a little bit is really the best. That's my choice for that. And I've been doing that all except the one time. And the injection site, they all are fine. I can take a little bit of the sting in the leg or, the back of the arm. But the only thing I might change is if I had to go to vials and syringes, I would probably stick to mainly the stomach. But we'll see. I might be a little adventurous and try to do the thigh. It might be more difficult to do the back of the arm with a vial and syringe, and that might be something I wouldn't do. Although I really like the idea of rotating. I feel like that's been good. And then when I do switch over to 5 mg, I've decided I want to not do it in the stomach, just to kind of see if that makes a difference. I don't want to have my very first shot of an up dose to be in my stomach just in case there are side effects, if that makes sense. Now, if you've done that, if you've taken your first titrated dose in the stomach, let me know what your effects were. I would really be interested in that to see, did you notice any more side effects by doing it in the stomach? Or did you decide to do it in a different rotating spot to avoid the potential of a side effect? That'd be really good to know, and for people in our community to know, um, what happened and what worked for you. So that would be really, really beneficial. It's always good to share information. So I really appreciate you joining me on my journey. I'm having a really good time doing the journey, and I feel really positive about it. I know that I'm making strides, and it just feels really good. And as far as the channel, please subscribe, like, and get the notification bell so these algorithms can keep rolling out and sharing amongst others in the GLP-1 community. And the end of my videos, I like to do what's called the Living Self-Care Rally. And so I usually just tap that in. You can join with me. And this is just a little something just to kind of put some positive affirmations on yourself at the end of the video here. So just very gentle taps and just kind of say it with me. I matter. I am valued. I am loved. And I am a living mosaic. And I like to end on a Living Word Bible verse. For those of you who are interested in that, stick with me for just a couple seconds. And today I've chosen Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. So I want to leave you with that positive information and those good vibes. And I hope you have a wonderful week. And thank you for joining me. And remember, you are a living mosaic. And until next time, have a great one. Bye.